So today we're inside working in the cabin. It's a little bit rainy and windy outside today, so it's better to stay off the roof and try to get some stuff done inside. One of the things we need to get done is furring in the walls of our bathroom and our kitchen. We're going to start with the bathroom first. We have the layout finished. We know exactly where the water lines are going to go, where the electrical stuff is going to go. And so some of you made comments in the past about like where electrical, or why we hadn't put electrical stuff up, or why we hadn't done our plumbing in the walls. And that's because we intentionally don't want to do penetrations in the wall. So we're going to basically be using furring strips to give us some space between this vapor barrier system and the sheetrock or whatever siding we use interiorly, if that's a word, not sure. Anyway, so basically what we're going to be doing is attaching these to the studs, 16 on center, and then we also have a little bit of additional framing laterally on some of the studs because we're going to be laying our sheetrock horizontally to give a little additional strength, and also just strength meaning preventing cracks and things like that within the sheetrock. So anyway, that's what we're doing today. Alright, so with rough framing, sometimes things are not perfect, as you would expect. But since we're going to be hanging sheetrock on this, I want to make sure that I'm getting my walls as plumb as they can be. And so what I'm doing is, in the spots where there might be a 2x4 that's maybe got a little bit of a warp in it, or not quite plumb or whatever, is I'm shimming up behind the furring strips, and that gives us our nice flush edges. So it'll make it really easy to go ahead and do our sheetrock. We're going to lay our sheetrock horizontally, which is why I have these mid furry strips in here. And that will also kind of create some extra work because I'll have to drill through for electrical stuff and also for plumbing. Overall, I think just for the sake of the sheetrock, I think it'll, you know, being that we're on permafrost, we're going to have some movement. I think that it's going to be the smarter way to go to kind of prevent that. There will be some butt joints, but I'll try to make sure to stagger those a little bit, but there's really not going to be a lot of butt joints. We're only going to be furring into this point in the bathroom right here, and then we're going to be doing some other stuff where the toilet's going to be, and the shower obviously is going to be here. And so anyway, yeah, so that should make things a little bit easier, but I still got a little bit more framing up around here to do, around the window and a couple other spots down below. Oh, gonna have to redo that one.
All right, so behind me is where we're gonna be getting the garden ready. We've gone back and forth about just tearing out the roots of the trees because they're so small with the tractor, or cutting them down and then tearing out the roots when the ground is a little bit less frozen. We're not really sure how deep the freeze is right now underneath the soil, and we don't really want to tear things up too much, because one thing we have been told and have noticed ourselves is when you disturb the soil around here and it warms up too quickly, it can be a real muddy mess, and we want to avoid that if we can. But first, as I mentioned before, because the garden is just being developed, I won't be doing a lot of planting in ground, maybe not at all. When things need to be planted, they need to be planted, so we're kind of got to move at the pace of the plants. So we're like the first week of May here, basically. We've got another probably 3 weeks before the last frost date, so all those things need to be kept under protection. One of the things we're going to be doing is fixing the greenhouse frame that got bent in the previous wind burst. So that way I can get some plants out here and out of the trailer. It's getting pretty crowded. Because I'm going to be container gardening for most, if not all, of my gardening this season, I picked up these bags, which are basically little plant pots, breathable, and that way I can grow plants and move them in and out of the greenhouse relatively easily. I mean, it's going to be heavy with a bunch of dirt in there, obviously, but yeah. And so we have a trip to town coming up, and so once I fill all these, it'll give me a better idea also of how much more soil I need to pick up while we're there. The wind is supposed to make it hard for mosquitoes to stick around, but it actually has just made our mosquitoes stronger. That's what it seems like to me.
Can I get your hand for a second?
Oh, sure. We've resurrected the greenhouse. Thomas did some repairs to the metal. It's a little less collapsible than it used to be, but right now we just need it to stay up. So we put it here up by the gravel pad by our lumber. There's some tree break here. It still can be a little bit breezy out here, but nothing like on the bluff, which was probably a poor choice for the greenhouse in the first place. So we've also got better stakes in here, so we're good on the greenhouse, we think. So I'm going to be planting a few things that can be sown now in these temperatures in May. My other plants, squash plants, tomatoes and peppers, they really need to wait till it warms up quite a bit before they can be outside. Those will probably be some that are in the greenhouse for a bit. But for sowing other things, I'm going to sow some chard, spinach, radishes, turnips, some bush beans, some collards, some arugula. I think that's it for now. A lot of the other things that I want to plant or could seed now, I'm waiting because we are going to build a couple of 4x12 beds, again, once we get the garden cleared out. So that's going to be carrots and mostly transplanting, but also planting from seeds, some onions, and a bunch of herbs and things like that, in addition to the other plants that I'm going to move out there. So it's exciting to see the garden moving forward slowly. Just got the soil all moistened. It's great. Feels good. There we go. I kept a lot of my seeds from Oregon, but pretty sure many of them will not work here because they aren't a short enough season variety, but I'm still willing to give them a shot. I hate to throw them away. Okay, arugula, here we go.
See how the door opens up here? Messed up the corner edge a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Looking good.
Right on.
Ready to go fix the fish and start smoking.
Yay. Okay, cool.
Looks like I may have to lift up a little
Do
bit.
a little leveling, yeah.
A little leveling
Yeah.
here. But that won't be hard. Let's grab a shovel and
Yeah.
throw some gravel under there.
Nice.
In place. No more moving smoker around the property.
Yeah,
It'll last for the rest of my life.
that's true. Here we got radish. Going with the Denali Seed Company. I don't want to mess around with beans.
Green is for.
Oh, the smoker.
It's for the smoker.
Oh, yay. We've got a day with less wind, so we are going to get back up on the roof. And I say we, but it's really Thomas. I'm holding the ladder and I'm handing him things, but he's got the tough part up there. But yeah, we're finishing up the first side of the roof and then we'll move on to the other side. We're hoping that we can be able to make some good progress in the next few days.
Actually, I'm going to put one more going up, I guess. Is there a lookout here or something?
you just above your head there? There is a lookout there, yeah. Really yummy. The rose hips that I dried were really yummy flavor. And a nice tang. So right now Thomas is putting up what's called butane, and that's the same material that we put down on the OSB when we just had our floor done and it was exposed to the elements, that black tape, thick black tape, and it's meant to protect against ice, all kinds of moisture, rain. And he's putting it on the edges of where the purlins come out, and the side pieces to that, and also he'll go along the bottom edge as well, and that's just to kind of help prevent any moisture from getting underneath inside this decking and the metal roof.
Yeah, ideally we would have done this before we did the purlins, but I forgot. So
better late than never.
Yeah, well, and I would have done a wider strip, but this will also, when we put our gable end flashing on, it actually goes over the top of the metal, and so we'll put I can't remember what that stuff is, that gooey putty stuff. Anyway, we'll put that on the metal, and then the flashing will sit on top of that too, so there'll be plenty of protection. But there is a little bit of a gap here. If there's any driving rain, could go up here, so we got it. We might as well use it. Okay, butt your end up.
Okay, there it is.
Okay, I'll pull my end down.
How many of these do you want?
7.
Okay. So the wind is picking up, and so we're going to move on to trying to clear the space for the garden. So we are going to try to just pull out the trees. We've gone back and forth about pulling them out versus cutting them down and then going back through and cutting them really close to the ground. They're all so tiny. Most of them are so tiny. We think we can just pull them out of the ground without too much damage to the ground. We'll see. So we're hoping that we can use some of this willow that has had what's called like a diamond fungus on the outside of it. We're hoping we can use it as some of the accent parts in the cabin. You peel it and it's super beautiful. Whoa. Whoa, there it goes. There it goes. Wow. Okay, yeah, this is a great specimen of the diamond pattern. So
yeah, especially the other one on the other side.
Oh yeah, it's got some really, doesn't look much like much right now, but when it gets peeled, it's super beautiful. Oh yeah, beautiful. That's gonna be really beautiful. Uh-huh. Yep. So it's really good to thin this even if we weren't going to build a garden here, but because the trees are so tiny, it really works out well to put the garden here, because less big giant trees that we have to cut down.
And less stumps.
To clear a space, yeah. More manageable stumps.
Yeah, we want to be able to have access to some of the topsoil. It's good loamy soil.
Yeah.
And it'd be great for planting potatoes and stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah. So yeah, we got to get that out, but
made a little dent today.
Yeah, we only went after it for about an hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
Took a break from the roof. Got a little windy for that.
Yes.
So yeah, moving on to other things. Yeah.
Another windy day, so garden clearing. Crazy. This one's going to be really cool. On the other side too, some really fun knots. It might be coming down, buddy. Wow.
Wind came from the other direction.
Yes. Okay. Yay! Oh my gosh. That was the bumpiest one yet.
That was a bumpy one.
I was worried it was going to flip over backward. Those first couple tugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Yeah. Good deal.
And yeah.
Mosquitoes in here.
Oh yeah. We got a little bit more to do. Just a little. One clump at a time. Our plan is to clear a space that's about 2,000 square feet. That will give us enough room to have the amount of beds that we need and walking space. We're hoping that maybe we can even have some success with some fruit trees. We're also planning to pump water from the creek to water the garden. there.
Right here.
35 feet to there.
Yeah,
from the
so that's a
shelter login?
total of 65
Oh,
feet.
okay, total of 65.
So yeah, we easily are going to have enough space for.
Okay.
Because what did we say, 50 by 40?
Yeah.
So 60, we're going to be 65 by 40.
These birch buds are so beautiful. We don't have very much birch here in this particular place, so it's a bummer to have to cut a couple down, but they will make really great firewood. Here's some wintertime rabbit food. These were buried underneath the snow, and it's obvious that they were nibbled on all winter long. Aspen bark.
See that?
Yeah,
I saw
it's like
the wad
boom,
flying
boom.
everywhere.
Yeah, two came down. They're connected. Woo! All right. Safety third.
Safety third. Like this.
Yeah.
It makes
yeah,
it look bigger.
Yeah, different angle.
Uh-huh. All right, so sometimes it's very awkward. I love you, Carla.
Plants that I'm waiting on. But